in a bid to attack Chief Justice of India, B.R. Gawai, inside the courtroom. A lawyer allegedly attempted to create a ruckus in the court of Chief Justice B.R. Gawai and attempted to throw a shoe at the Chief Justice. The police have detained the accused lawyer, and as the police were escorting him out, the accused lawyer declared India will not tolerate the insult of Sanatan Dharma. However, Chief Justice remained calm throughout the incident and continued the hearing as usual. This happened during the mentioning in the morning. This morning, while the mentioning process was going on, a lawyer allegedly attempted to throw a shoe at the Chief Justice. He was, however, controlled by the security staff inside the courtroom, and the shoe did not, in fact, hit the Chief Justice. However, the Chief Justice B.R. Gawai continued the hearing and said, "This is not going to affect me. Please continue the hearing of the matters." This is news that is just coming in. The lawyer has been detained by the Supreme Court security staff, but while being taken outside, while being removed from the courtroom of the Chief Justice, the lawyer claimed India will not tolerate the attack on insult on Sanatan Dharma. This is being seen as a possible fallout of recent hearing where the Chief Justice refused to hear a matter relating to a Vishnu statue. But we are waiting for further information on this particular incident. What we can confirm to you, viewers, is that there was an attempt to attack the Chief Justice of India in his courtroom this morning as a lawyer attempted to throw a shoe at the Chief Justice. He was, however, stopped and removed from the courtroom before he could actually attack the Chief Justice of India inside his own courtroom. This is a very serious incident that has happened this morning during the mentioning process. As the Chief Justice of India, B.R. Gawai, was holding court, a lawyer attempted to throw a shoe at him, and when he was being removed, he also shouted that India will not tolerate the insult to Sanatan Dharma. The shouting was to disrupt the court hearing, but the courtroom hearing was not disrupted. The Chief Justice, in fact, said, "I will not be distracted by such things. These things do not affect me."
घटना बहुत ही दुखद घटना है कि एक कोर्ट में वो भी लॉयर ने अगर असॉल्ट किया है, करने का प्रयास किया है, तो हम इसकी कड़ी निंदा करते हैं। देखिए, हमारे बार के वो मेंबर हैं जो हमने अभी इंक्वायर किया और पता चला कि वो 2011 के मेंबर हैं। बट बहुत ही दुखद घटना इसलिए हम कह सकते हैं कि जो पता चला कि लॉर्ड विष्णु के मैटर्स में उसमें जो कमेंट आया था ऑनरेबल CJI का, उसी पे ही उन्होंने ऐसा प्रयास किया है। तो ये बहुत ही दुखद घटना है, हम इसकी कड़ी निंदा करते हैं, और अगर ये घटना सच है तो एक्शन होना चाहिए। आज की जो घटना है बहुत ही दुखद घटना है कि एक कोर्ट में वो भी लॉयर ने अगर असॉल्ट किया है, करने का प्रयास किया है, तो हम इसकी कड़ी निंदा करते हैं।
Srishti Ojha is joining me on this story. Srishti, it's a very, very serious incident that a lawyer in the Chief Justice's court tries to take off his shoe and throw a shoe at the Chief Justice. What more do we know? What are you picking up from the Supreme Court?
Definitely extremely shocking incident as well. What we're hearing about the chaos that took place in the Chief Justice of India's courtroom early morning today when the court sat to hear its mentioning. We are hearing from sources who are also present inside the courtroom that there was an attempt to throw a shoe at the Chief Justice of India by one of the lawyers who walked close to the dais and then tried to remove his shoe and throw sorted out of the CJI's courtroom. He shouted that Sanatan ka apman nahi sahenge, and what we're also hearing is after the incident, the Chief Justice of India addressed the courtroom and asked them to not get distracted by all of this. CJI Gawai also said that these things do not affect him. So quite a shocking incident which has happened today in CJI's court for a lawyer to have behaved in this manner. Before the judges, before the courtroom, inside a courtroom, in fact. But what we're hearing from the police sources here is that he has now been detained by the police officials here. Back to you.
Have any further information on who this person is, what is being done now? Has any action been taken against him? He was detained and removed from the court immediately, of course. But what are you picking up from the police sources, from the security staff of the Supreme Court? Is he being arrested? Is there an FIR against him? What exactly is being done?
Well, from our sources, what we're hearing is that the lawyer has been identified as one advocate Rakesh Kishore. He was escorted out immediately after the incident took place by the security personnel and has also been detained, of course, right after the incident by the police officials present in the Supreme Court premises. Not just that, as per sources, he's also likely to be taken to meet the Secretary General. So we're waiting on more information as to why exactly this particular thing was done by this lawyer, what was the reason, and what further action will be taken against him by the Supreme Court is something that we are waiting out on more information for. But he's definitely been detained by the security personnel after he was escorted out of the CJI's courtroom. Back to you.
Srishti, is there any further information available? Have you been able to speak to any of the lawyers who were in the courtroom when this incident happened? Because the courtroom proceedings, I believe, were not disrupted at all. The Chief Justice went on with the court proceedings, in fact, told the lawyers that these things should not affect the hearing. Have you been able to speak to any person who was present when this incident happened?
Well, yes, we've tried to speak to lawyers who were present in Chief Justice of India's court during the mentionings, because this incident happened early in the morning when the court hears mentionings of cases before it moves on to hear the regular matters. And as you rightly pointed out, even as per those lawyers, the hearing before CJI's court was not disrupted after this incident. CJI reacted in a very calm manner. In fact, also asked the lawyers present in the court to not get distracted by all this, saying that all this doesn't distract him and these things do not affect him. But it's definitely a shocking incident, because we're talking about the highest court of the country, and we're talking about a courtroom of the Chief Justice of India himself, for such an unfortunate incident to have taken place. There's obviously, we are expecting some serious action to be taken. We've also spoken to lawyers who have condemned such an action, especially considering the fact that it's been done by a lawyer, not some layman. It has been done by a lawyer inside CJI's courtroom. So definitely some action is likely to be taken from what we're hearing from our sources. But we'll have to wait for some time to know exactly what action will be taken against him. But yes, you are right. The courtroom proceedings after the incident continued. Normally, this Chief Justice of India continued with hearings of the matters. There was no disruption as such. And the person was escorted out and then eventually detained. Back to you.
All right, Srishti, we've seen the kind of social media posts that have come out after this. There have been a lot of lawyers who were there, or lawyers who were hearing about it have come out to speak about it, saying that brief chaos was there. Justice Gawai remained calm and continued the hearing. They're also saying that this kind of incident should not have happened. Is there any comment or statement coming in from the Supreme Court administration or the Supreme Court bar so far?
We haven't seen any official comment coming from the Supreme Court. Our information is limited to the lawyers who were present inside the courtroom, and also from the police sources who we have tried to speak to here at the Supreme Court of India. What we're also hearing from the lawyers is that the incident could have been sparked. The comments that have come in from the lawyer who tried to attack the Chief Justice of India, the bench, could have been possibly sparked by CJI's comments in a previous case, which had also sparked a lot of controversy, if you remember, on social media in a case regarding to the idol of Lord Vishnu. So the speculation is that the incident today was possibly a fallout of that particular remark or the remarks made by CJI in that case. But yes, the Chief Justice of India very clearly remained unfazed today after the incident. That's exactly what we have heard from the lawyers. He remained unfazed. The bench continued to hear the arguments and also asked the lawyers to continue with their arguments, went on to hear the matters as per the list, and did not get distracted or affected by the incident that had taken place, which in itself says a lot about the CJI and the bench itself, considering they decided to resume the hearing, and we did not see the bench get up or ask the lawyers to leave the court. according to the lawyers present, the court remained unfazed and also asked the lawyers to not get distracted by the incident that had happened, pointing out that they are not distracted, and CJI clearly saying that these things do not affect him, but we'll have to wait and watch and see if there's any official statement which eventually comes in from the Supreme Court, and especially what action the top court and its administration decides to take against this particular lawyer. Back to you.
Vishnu, this is a very, very shocking incident that has happened in the Supreme Court, the highest court of the land, in the courtroom of the Chief Justice of India, where a lawyer reportedly tried to throw a shoe at the Chief Justice while he was sitting on the dais. He was sitting in the courtroom during the hearing that was going on. And this lawyer apparently saying that India will not tolerate the insult of Sanatan Dharma. What are you picking up from the Supreme Court right now, Srishti? You're in the Supreme Court. What are the lawyers in the corridors saying? Is this incident something that people are talking about? Has this person been identified?
Well, yes, as I pointed out earlier, the person has been identified. He was escorted out of he's a lawyer practicing here. He was escorted out and then eventually detained. As far as the Supreme Court corridors and the lawyers are concerned, it is probably the only thing that we can hear lawyers, both senior and junior lawyers, discuss as of now, because not only is it a surprising event, but an extremely shocking incident to have happened. We have, as court reporters, seen some of these incidents, or we've heard of such incidents happen in lower courts, trial courts, because the security system in lower courts as compared to higher courts is a bit weak. There's more access to common people as far as courtrooms of trial courts are concerned. But if you talk about Supreme Court, there's an extremely extremely good security system in place, where there's a high security zone which is made, where once you enter, there's a pass required to enter for entering in the high security zone. And it's the high security zone in Supreme Court where all the courtrooms are there, all the courtrooms. So for such an incident to happen, for such an incident to have happened inside the courtroom of the highest court of the country is definitely shocking, and also raises questions, big questions. But what's also important to point out here is that the attempt to attack the bench has come in from a lawyer. Now, lawyers, of course, are allowed to enter the high security zone for their matters. What steps the Supreme Court administration will take to ensure that such a lapse doesn't happen in the future, or such an incident doesn't happen in the future, will also be very crucial to watch out for, to see what, if at all, any further steps are taken. Because if lawyers continue to behave in this manner in the highest court of the country, that will definitely raise a lot of questions, even amongst the general public, as far as they are concerned, and also concern for other courts, high courts, or the subordinate courts. So it's not just surprising, but an extremely shocking incident which has taken place today in the CJI's court, and it will be important to see what action the top court administration will take, and if any steps or any further changes would be implemented by the top court as far as its security and functioning inside courtrooms is concerned. Back to you.
Thank you for that, Srishti Ojha. A very shocking incident today in the Supreme Court, where the Chief Justice of India, there is an attempt to attack the Chief Justice of India, and all over social media and in the court corridors, lawyers are asking just what happened that this was allowed to happen. In fact, Senior Advocate Indra Jaising taking to social media saying that this requires detailed investigation, because according to her, this appears to be a casteist attack on the Chief Justice of India and must be condemned. So we'll have to wait and see what action is taken against this lawyer. A lawyer in full uniform with a proximity card, somebody who's authorized to be in the Supreme Court, trying to attack the Chief Justice of India, trying to throw a shoe at the highest court of the land. That is sending a very, very shocking and very, very awful message to the country.